Welcome to Absurdly Nerd. We just finished watching episode 2 of HBO's The Last of Us, titled Infected. So we got some thoughts, and we're going to start from the beginning.
Like me and you talked about it a little bit before this. It is my least favorite part of this game, too, like you said. I did really like the opening, though. I like how the openings are giving us background to what this is.
Yeah, it's showing the people that played the game why you're watching. You know, like you're not just seeing the things that you already know. You're getting filled in and filling out this world that we've, grown to love through playing the games. And it is good for people that didn't play the game, because if you didn't play the game, you didn't get that sense of scale. Yeah. Like if they didn't put this in there, you didn't get the sense of how it got there, because that's what a lot of zombie shows do wrong. But opening up with that scene, I was super impressed. Like to me, it's the strongest part of the episode.
Yeah, me too. I was when we was going to talk about the moments, that was mine. The opening. The
acting is really good, even though there's the language barrier. You're reading the subtitles, like you can feel the emotion in the moment and everything. But them grabbing her from the cafe and taking her back there, and you get the idea of what's going on. She's the scientist that's going to tell them what is happening with it. And seeing her reaction as a scientist and having studied it her whole life.
Just telling them to bomb the place.
Yeah. And if you just saw the scene from the first one and then that one, you'd be like, like it feels very streamlined, even though it's, years later. Like you see the transition of what the doctor was saying in the first one. But her going in that room was the most intense thing I've seen in this show yet.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I half expected it to wake up and, attack her and everything, but that would have been too cliche.
Yeah. I like the way they did it. It was
it's
creepy. It's just enough
exactly.
Creepy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just picturing myself being her, cutting into the legs, seeing the fungus growing, and that whole thing clicking in her mind that, oh no, like this is something that's never happened, and it's happening. And then pulling the mycelium out of the mouth.
Oh, it's so gross.
Like that was one of those things I didn't know if they was going to be able to convey the actual textures of the game, like, because honestly that's the only thing the game can't really convey to you, because it's video game graphics. And like, I mean, there's the fear in the game, but it's not as much like that gross out feeling, it's more like the intensity of it. And I mean, the clickers look scary and everything, and we'll get to that later. But in that moment she pulls that out and freaks out, and you can tell like at that moment she knew everything was lost. And her telling them to bomb them was a great, like, just great writing. Yeah. Like, she knew so well what that was capable of. That
and what it meant for her and everybody
in
else.
In the world, Like, and obviously they didn't heed her warning to do that. That's how we ended up where we go next, back to Joel and Ellie and Tess. And
it's pretty much, from after that opening scene, it's pretty much game and this part side by side. It was pretty much the same things were happening. And
almost to a fault for me. Like the show it became the travel sections of the game, like, and there's good dialogue in there that flesh things out, but as someone that's played the game and knows the story, I don't know if it quite did what the game does yet. I'm hoping that it continues to, but knowing where it was going, and then when it got there for me, I don't know, it wasn't the best way they could have done it, in my opinion.
No.
I don't want to jump too far ahead, because the end of the episode to me was kind of disappointing, but we'll keep going. As they're moving through the city, there's not a lot to talk about there, other than I think the difference between the game and that was the time, them finding out about Ellie and the way they treat it. Like waiting it out and everything.
Her portrayal of Ellie is still just getting better and better for me. Like it was great last episode, and the way she puts the reads the lines. It's just so Ellie-like.
Dude, she studied her. She had to have really studied this game, because she has it down, the delivery of how she does it and everything, and her snarkiness, like acting older than she is, but it still shines through that she's only 14, And the way she is with Joel is spot on to me too.
Yes.
Like she still doesn't like him, but she respects him, and you can see that growing.
And I love, this episode to me is like, it's the filler to get to them two having more time together. Like, we didn't see
Tess was that bridge. Like, and that's what she was in the game, and I'm glad they fleshed that out. I'm glad Tess got expanded on. Yeah. Because that was like, I mean, we weren't with her that long. She was off doing side things most of the time because they didn't want to have three traveling together. Like, you could kind of feel that in the game. I think with these reviews, recaps, what we're doing, it's a lot of it's going to be comparison to the game and what's better, what's worse.
That's the only thing we know it from, really.
Right. Yeah. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, it is trying to recapture what we love about that and bring it to a broader audience. So there's going to be some things that are better and some that are worse and some that are just spot on.
But I think if like we're in a weird spot because we have played the game, I feel like a lot of people that just want to watch the show will be fine. Yeah. Like, I think they'll hopefully, we're only 2 episodes in, but hopefully they'll get the complete package of what last episode is.
And I think another thing with this episode that made me like, I would give it like a B- personally, because I still think it's really high quality and everything. But when I look at it through the lens of someone that hasn't played the games, doesn't have experience with this story, it was kind of slow. And, other than the clicker moment in the opening. And
I was impressed by the clickers.
Yeah, they did a really great, like they put the work in. I think the CG on the city is a little meh.
Yeah.
Like you can tell it's a CG city. That's a lot to do, like especially for a show, but I can kind of tell they're trying to recreate a game world there. The clickers though, that was spot on. Like brought them to life. They showed the prosthetics and the little breakdown after, the little behind the scenes, and it's wild that turned into such a realistic scene there. But
I'm with you though. I think I'd give it a B or B- too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm giving it the minus mostly because of the end of the episode to me.
Oh, like I didn't like that at all.
I didn't either. I don't mind the change from it being Fedra because that was right. Like that's fine. Yeah, it's more relevant to this version of it. In the game, it was like they didn't want to just keep having you fight zombies. It was like, okay, here's a gunfight for you. That's kind of what that was about. Even though like you just leave it in the rear view, you never really deal with Fedra again. But that's my big problem is Tess's moment was really stolen from her.
Yeah.
With the writing of the faulty freaking lighter.
No, that didn't bother me bad as the zombie kiss.
Yeah, and the zombie kiss was so unnecessary. It was just there for gross out factor.
Yeah.
There was no hidden symbolism or anything.
It was the way she didn't fight back. And I was like, I don't
know. Nothing felt natural about it. I mean, I know it's supposed to be an unnatural thing, but like it just didn't feel right to me. In the game, when you leave, I mean, you are Joel and Ellie.
So when you leave that room, you don't see
right. You don't see but Tess gets to go out as the hero, and she wins that. I mean, she doesn't win the fight, but she
saves them too.
Right. And in this, it's kind of like she goes out being sexually assaulted by a zombie, and it's like
that's weird.
It's an odd choice to me. I don't think it really benefited the show in any way.
Like you said, the lighter not lighting, and then she just stands there and lets it happen. I'm like, I don't believe that character would let that happen.
Right? Like, yeah. It's just I don't know.
I don't see her not going out fighting. I don't think she's just
There's no reason not to fight at that point. Yeah. Like why, you're gonna die. Like just fight the thing off, light the thing, and kill it. I don't know. It was just there for the sake of grossing people out, and I didn't really like that, but. I am still really excited I like the episode. I just think it was a step down from where we were, but I'm really excited to see what happens next. Cause like you said, this is my least favorite section of the game. It kind of, took its time to open the world up.
Not tutorial, but it's just past the tutorial enough that you're still learning stuff. And
they're introducing mechanics. Oh, I think I do want to say, I love how they handled the section where you would have been pushing her on a pallet.
Yeah.
And he just steps into the water and he's like, showing her that you could just walk in it. They went around that pretty good. That was a funny nod.
And I love the part where she puts. I guess the board was already there, but goes across the ceilings or the rooftops. That felt so video game too. Yeah, like the rooftop cross.
Yeah, it was a great natural transition from video game into show there. Now, there's another one of her good remarks. It's like that was scary in there. This is wood. That's pretty clever. But yeah, no, I'm most excited to see what happens next. Seeing the preview for Bill and everything there, it looks like they're changing a lot with that.
Yeah, the Bill area looks like it's going to be really different.
Yeah.
I still hope they get that really good moment of when you accidentally get in one of his traps and hang upside down. Yeah. That's a good moment.
That'll probably be the introduction.
It's a good moment for video games. It may be a different show.
Yeah, we'll have to see how they go about it.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about it more next week because we'll be watching the episode, but seeing him in a rural area makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Why would this guy that's a survivalist, stick in the city where all of these things are, So for him to go out on, into a little more of a rural area makes more sense to me. But some really funny stuff in that preview.
I'm looking forward to that one. It's got a lot of hype behind it. As far as early reviews, people say episode 3 is amazing.
Really? So. Super, super stoked. But overall, still really enjoying the show. Really excited to see where it goes. I'm super glad that this show happened. When it first was announced, I was like, oh, I don't need that. I've played the game. I know the story. But they've brought it to life in such a great way.
Is it too soon to say it's the best video game adaptation?
I don't think so, because if it holds this even like I said, episode 2 wasn't as good. Even if it holds this level of quality, there's nothing that I can think of I like better, other than like Arcane, which isn't like a 1-for-1 recreation of anything. You know, it's just a story from League of Legends. But I think it is as good as I could have ever hoped for it.
Yep,
but
I agree.
Until next week, we'll see you. Stay nerdy.